Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be discussing probiotics, and more specifically we're going to be looking at why probiotics maybe haven't worked for you. I feel like they are something that just seem to be marketed like the answer to any gut problem, and the reality is they are not. So for some people they might not see any change at all. For some people actually they can make you feel worse. So this video is for you and to give you some answers and also give you some direction on, if that is the case, what to do next. So the main problem we have to recognize here with probiotics is that there are gut imbalances that probiotics simply can't fix. So that is really what it boils down to. So let's have a look at what some of these gut imbalances can be. So the first one we're going to talk about is SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. SIBO is basically where there is an overgrowth of bacteria. So before we go any further, do we think adding in a probiotic, which is adding more bacteria in, is going to be helpful? I feel like we can all see the answer there, which is no. So that's the first thing to consider, is that sometimes, people are taking a probiotic, but their issue is actually they have an overgrowth, so they feed further into the overgrowth. So it's like fighting fire with a bit more fire. The other thing to consider with SIBO is, as the name says, so small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, this is an overgrowth in the small intestine. Now, just to put this into perspective, 98% of your bacteria should be in your large intestine, only around 2% should be in your small intestine. So when that number starts to migrate over and we start to have too much going to that small intestine, that is definitely where we're going to have a lot of symptoms. Like SIBO is very, very symptomatic. But basically, not only are we dealing with an overgrowth, we're dealing with an overgrowth in the wrong area. So if you have been taking probiotics and you are feeling immediately worse, like worse bloating, worse gas, all of your digestive symptoms just feel like they've been lit on fire, please stop your probiotics. Do not just push through, because likely you are feeding further into the problem. Some probiotics can further aggravate histamine issues in some people. So you can actually get probiotic formulas that are histamine free, essentially. So don't contain strains that are going to further aggravate someone's histamine. I think what people don't realize with probiotics, it's not like all probiotics are equal. Like all probiotics can be a little bit different, and you might see bifidobacterium and you might see lactobacillus on the back, but that doesn't mean that they're all using the same strains. There's many different types of strains of each that you can get. And yeah, depending on the person and their gut, some might be better suited than others. Okay, the next thing that I want to touch on is that some probiotics have added prebiotics in them as well. So it's a combination of probiotics and prebiotics. Now, the difference between the two is that probiotics add in bacteria, whereas prebiotics feed the bacteria. Now, the issue there is that if someone has got an overgrowth in negative bacteria, so bacteria that's become opportunistic and maybe even more slightly pathogenic, right? Prebiotics might actually start to feed the unwanted bacteria, and then that is going to again put more fuel in the fire and potentially worsen someone's symptoms and just gut health state. So don't get me wrong, I love prebiotics. Like, I actually think prebiotics are king, not probiotics, because yes, you want to add the numbers in, but once you've got the numbers there, it's actually down to the prebiotics that are going to really nurture your gut microbiome and keep things healthy from a good bacteria standpoint. But yeah, we just need to be aware that if you are adding prebiotics in and your symptoms aren't feeling good, then you might just want to consider, okay, there might actually be something else at play in the gut that needs to be addressed before you start loading loads of prebiotics in. I would say the most common prebiotics I see in probiotic formulas would be FOS. I would say that probably is quite a high one, FOS. Inulin, chicory root, I would say they're the top three. Some other ones you can also look out for is PHGG, partially hydrolyzed guar gum. GOS is another one as well. I think something else also, just to add to the last one, is that sometimes people go a little bit too hard too soon, and particularly on the prebiotic front, that can be the case. Like when it comes to prebiotics and you're adding them in like in supplement form, it's best to go low and slow and gradually build them up, and not just go in with like a higher dose of a prebiotic, because sometimes just the gut environment, it's just a bit too overpowering, all in one go, and you just want to just build it up gradually. Okay, so from a gut perspective, I would say there's some of like the key reasons why someone would respond negatively to a probiotic. But also to the people maybe who have taken probiotics and you're like, I just didn't see any change. Like I just didn't feel anything. My symptoms didn't change at all. There's two things I would say on that. Number one is how long have you actually been taking them for? Just purely on the basis of it does take a while for gut bacteria to build up. So maybe you are taking probiotics and maybe, you know, it is just good and beneficial and working well, but it's just taking a while for your bacteria to build up, so you just haven't seen the rewards of it yet. So that could always be a thing, you know, just maybe it just needs a bit more time. But the other thing as well is that if you're taking it and it has been, you know, a good period of time, over 6 months, let's say, and you're just like, this is just not doing anything, I'm not seeing any change, then likely, you know, it's just not the area for you that is, you know, triggering your symptoms. Basically, you need to do investigation in other areas of your health to figure out where that root cause is coming from. If you have taken probiotics and you have responded negatively to them, firstly stop them, do not push through. But the way forward from here, I really recommend testing, because clearly there is something else going on within that gut environment that's causing that reaction. So the next step is finding out what that is, right? So when it comes to the gut, definitely test, don't guess, because guessing can just actually make things a lot worse and cause more problems that maybe even weren't there at the beginning. So test, don't guess, do a GI map, find out what's going on, and then you can actually take a targeted approach to healing up your gut and also just getting rid of these symptoms once and for all. A GI map is a comprehensive stool test, and it's basically just going to look at that whole digestive tract and really tell you what's going on within your gut environment. I do want to be clear, this is a test that tests the large intestine, it doesn't test the small, so it's not going to give you answers in terms of like SIBO, so you can get separate SIBO tests. However, I will just say, through good interpretation, we can definitely identify if SIBO is a possibility from a GI map. So I would always start with GI map, even if you think you have SIBO, because SIBO, root cause wise, can also start from issues in the large intestine that are going up. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. I'm just saying start with a GI map with any kind of gut symptoms, because it's going to give you the most comprehensive view of what is going on. So you can access a GI map through any functional medicine practitioner or a naturopathic practitioner, and if you are struggling at all, do feel free just to reach out and I can help guide you there. Before we end out this video, I would love to know if you have taken probiotics and if you've had a good experience with them, or maybe the opposite and they haven't left you feeling so great, or maybe you're in the middle, maybe you're like, they did nothing for me. I would love to hear your experience in the comments. If you did find this video interesting, helpful, you enjoyed it, please do remember to give it a thumbs up. A simple thumbs up, if you're happy to even leave a comment, is the best free way that you can continue to support my channel and help me grow on here. So yeah, I really do appreciate it. I'm actually not too sure what my next video is going to be. I am wanting to do a monthly favorite, so it might be that, because I've got quite a few little health and wellness favorites, like food bits, a few skincare bits, a few like just all bits across the board that I'm really loving at the moment that I would love to share and tell you guys about. So maybe that might be next. But anyway, if you enjoy this type of content that you've seen today, make sure you're subscribed. Also hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos basically. And yeah, I hope you guys are well, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.